The silence of space was broken by a soft hum, almost like the heartbeat of a giant machine. Slowly, a fleet of alien ships emerged from the darkness, gliding toward a small blue planet that seemed ordinary at first glance. Yet, for the alien observers, this planet was no ordinary world. It was Earth, and in their eyes, it was classified as a Deathworld, a place of danger, mystery, and hidden power. From the largest observation ship, the Council of Alien Leaders watched Earth carefully. They were tall, elegant beings with translucent skin that glimmered under the soft lights of their control chamber. Their eyes, large and unblinking, focused on the planet below. "Strange," one of them whispered, their voice echoing across the chamber. "For a world with such primitive life, it radiates energy, powerful energy." The others nodded in agreement. On the surface, they saw nothing unusual: forests, oceans, cities with humans bustling through streets. Yet their scanners detected something else: faint, unpredictable bursts of energy, as if the planet itself was alive, aware, and waiting. "These readings, they are unusual," said another, tapping a holographic display. "It is not just life. It is something more. Something dangerous." The council leaned closer to the display. Streams of data filled the air with light, temperatures, magnetic fields, chemical readings, but one thing stood out: a subtle, almost invisible energy pulse that seemed to come from the humans themselves. "Humans are fragile," the first observer said, almost laughing. "They are soft, weak. They cannot survive in space without protection. Why would anyone fear them?" But the second observer frowned. "Do not underestimate them. These readings, they are irregular, even chaotic. They do not match any species we have seen before. Earth itself seems to respond to them." The chamber fell silent. Outside, the fleet hovered in a perfect formation, scanning cities and forests, rivers and mountains. But no matter how they observed, the humans below seemed unaware. They went about their lives, walking, talking, building, and creating, oblivious to the powerful eyes watching from above. Suddenly, a small flash of light appeared over a city. One of the observers gasped. That is not natural." The others turned, following the energy spike on their screens. A group of humans had survived a building collapse, an accident that should have killed them instantly. They emerged unharmed, helping each other out from the rubble. But the aliens noticed something strange. The humans' eyes seemed sharper, their movements quicker, their awareness beyond normal. "They adapt," whispered one of the council members. "They survive everything, even situations that should destroy them." The largest observer, whose presence commanded silence, stood and approached the observation window. Could this be the planet's design? Or the humans themselves? Perhaps this world is not what we thought. Perhaps it was created for a purpose we do not yet understand. The others exchanged uneasy glances. They had seen many worlds, many species, but Earth was different. It did not fit any of their predictions. It was chaotic, unpredictable, and strangely alive. Meanwhile, on the planet below, humans continued their simple lives. Children played in parks, workers walked to their jobs, and scientists experimented in laboratories, unaware that their very existence was being studied by a fleet of alien observers. Yet, something ancient and hidden stirred within the planet. The energy pulses grew stronger, almost like the heartbeat of the planet itself, and it seemed to respond to the humans, guiding, testing, and preparing them. "Earth is a puzzle," said one of the observers, a note of worry in their voice. "They call it a death world. But no one knows why. No one knows who it was built to challenge or destroy." The council continued to watch as night fell over the planet. Lights flickered in cities, fires burned in forests, and storms raged over oceans. And still, the humans survived. And still, the energy pulses from the planet and its inhabitants grew stronger. A final voice broke the silence, calm but filled with concern. "We must study them carefully. The humans, they are more than they seem. Something lies beneath their fragile appearance. Something waiting. Something dangerous." Outside, the alien fleet drifted silently above the blue planet. The stars shone cold and distant, but Earth glowed faintly, almost like a heartbeat in the void. And somewhere deep within the planet, the humans continued their lives, unaware that they were being watched, tested, and prepared for a purpose they did not yet understand. The observers did not know it yet, but the story of Earth, the story of humanity, was about to begin. And when it did, no one in the galaxy would ever forget the name of this small, blue world. The sun rose over Earth, spilling golden light across cities, forests, and deserts. Life moved in its usual rhythm. Humans laughed, argued, worked, and played, completely unaware of the alien eyes that watched from above. Yet, something extraordinary was stirring beneath the surface of ordinary life. In a small town, far from the cities and alien scanners, a young man named Ethan walked along a quiet street. He seemed normal, ordinary even. But today, he felt different. A strange energy hummed in his chest, like the heartbeat of the planet itself. It was subtle, almost invisible, but he could feel it. As he passed an abandoned warehouse, a sudden tremor shook the ground. Bricks fell from the walls, metal doors screeched, and dust filled the air. Panic spread among the few people nearby. But Ethan did not run. His body moved almost instinctively, faster and stronger than he had ever felt. He reached the falling debris just in time to catch a young girl before she was crushed. The bricks crashed to the ground, shattering on impact. Ethan barely felt them. But the people around him froze in awe. He looked at them, confused. Why am I like this? He wondered. Meanwhile, the alien observers above took note. Their sensors had picked up the same energy pulses they had detected before, now stronger, sharper. Interesting, one of them said, adjusting a display. The humans are changing, awakening. Their survival instincts are accelerating, almost as if they are evolving before our eyes. On the other side of the world, another human showed similar signs. A young woman named Lyra was climbing a mountain when a sudden storm struck. Lightning split the sky, winds tore at her, and rocks tumbled dangerously down the slope. But she moved with precision, jumping, ducking, and catching falling stones with strength that no normal human should have. She reached safety effortlessly. The aliens watching were silent. They had expected humans to be weak, fragile, easy to classify. Instead, they were witnessing something impossible. They survive. They adapt. They endure. Back in the town, Ethan noticed more signs. Animals behaved differently around him. Birds circled above, their calls louder, more urgent. Dogs barked but did not attack. Even the wind seemed to respond to his movements, pushing him forward, guiding him. It was as if Earth itself was awakening through him, granting him strength and awareness beyond human limits. Ethan did not understand what was happening. He felt alive, powerful, and strangely connected to everything around him. For the first time, he noticed the small hum in the air, the pulse beneath the ground, the subtle glow of the sun on his skin. Something is calling me, he thought. Across the globe, humans like Ethan and Lyra were beginning to show their hidden potential. Ordinary lives were transforming into extraordinary ones. Small acts of courage, instinctive brilliance, and impossible endurance began to appear everywhere. Humans were becoming more than they had ever known, and the observers above were watching, fascinated and wary. One of the alien council members turned from the window, whispering, "They are not just evolving. They are awakening. But why? What is the purpose behind this power?" Another observer replied, voice tense, "Perhaps Earth itself is preparing them. Perhaps this planet was designed for something far greater than we imagined. Perhaps the humans themselves were always meant for a mission we cannot yet comprehend." Night fell on Earth. The cities glowed with lights, the oceans reflected the moon, and storms rolled across the deserts. Yet, humans everywhere slept lightly, dreams full of strange images, running through fire, standing against impossible odds, facing unseen enemies. In those dreams, their instincts sharpened. They woke stronger, faster, more aware. Ethan stood on a hill, looking at the stars. Somewhere out there, beyond the atmosphere, he felt eyes watching. He did not know what they were, or why they watched. But he felt no fear, only a strange determination, a readiness he had never known before. The observers in space continued to record, analyze, and whisper among themselves. "They are becoming a force," one said quietly. "A force no one expected. Perhaps this Deathworld is not a warning to others, perhaps it is a test for them." And deep within the planet, something ancient stirred. The pulse of Earth grew stronger, guiding, nurturing, and awakening its inhabitants. Humans were no longer simply living, they were preparing. Preparing for challenges, for enemies, for something far greater than themselves. The stage was set. The awakening had begun. And soon, the galaxy would see that Earth was far more than a fragile blue world. Humanity, still unaware of its destiny, was about to step into a story written long before they were born. The observers watched silently, tension and awe filling their minds. Earth had remained hidden, underestimated, and dismissed. But that would soon change. Humanity was awake now, and no one in the galaxy would be ready for what was coming. The night sky was quiet, but the peace was only an illusion. Far above Earth, a small alien probe detached from the observing fleet. Its mission was simple: test the humans. See if they were as weak as everyone believed. The probe entered Earth's atmosphere silently, invisible to human eyes. It landed in a remote village surrounded by mountains, where life moved slowly and the people trusted the calm of their daily routines. The probe sensors activated, scanning the area for life signs. Its mission was not to kill, at least not entirely, only to challenge, to measure, to observe how the humans would react. Inside the village, Ethan was walking home, unaware of the danger descending upon them. Lyra, miles away, was exploring the mountains, feeling the energy pulses of the planet grow stronger. The humans' awakening had reached a tipping point, though none of them fully understood it. The probe began its test. First, the ground trembled slightly. Then, strange mechanical tentacles emerged from the probe, moving quickly and unpredictably. The villagers screamed, running in panic. Fires ignited from sparks, and structures shook as the probe tested the limits of the humans' environment. Ethan arrived in the village just as a group of children were trapped under a collapsing building. Time slowed in his mind. He didn't think, he acted. Strength surged through him, guided by instincts he had never known before. He lifted the heavy beams with ease and carried the children to safety. Every movement was precise, controlled, and beyond ordinary human capability. Lyra, sensing the disturbance from miles away, ran toward the village. She navigated the treacherous terrain effortlessly, leaping over fallen rocks and dodging fire with uncanny precision. She didn't know why she could move this way, only that her body obeyed her like it had a mind of its own. The probe observed, sending data back to the fleet. The aliens watched in astonishment. This is impossible," one whispered. "The humans are reacting faster than the probe anticipated. They are adapting." The probe intensified its challenge. Mechanical arms swung violently, smashing walls and knocking over trees. Sparks flew, and alarms blared in the air. The villagers hid in fear, expecting death at any moment. But the humans kept moving. Ethan used his strength to block falling debris, while Lyra intercepted the probe's tentacles, redirecting them away from people with timing no normal human could achieve. The aliens in orbit leaned closer to the observation screens. "They are not just surviving," one said, voice low. "They are controlling the situation, almost as if they expected it." Ethan noticed the probe's main core glowing brightly. He realized that to stop it, he had to reach the center. Ignoring the danger, he sprinted forward. Metal arms swung at him, but he dodged, ducked, and vaulted over obstacles with superhuman agility. Every move was calculated, precise, yet instinctual. Finally, he reached the core. It pulsed with energy, threatening to explode. With a strength that seemed impossible, he grabbed it and twisted, crushing it in his hands. The probe shuddered violently, sparks flying everywhere, and then it went silent. The test was over. The humans had survived, and triumphed. The villagers emerged from hiding, staring in or at Ethan and Lyra. They could not understand what they had just seen. The humans themselves were amazed. They had always been ordinary, yet somehow, in the face of danger, they became extraordinary. Above them, the alien observers were silent. Shock replaced confidence. "They destroyed the probe, without weapons," one whispered. "How is this possible? Humans are not supposed to be this strong." Another alien frowned. "This is not normal evolution. Something is guiding them. Something is awakening within them. Perhaps Earth itself is teaching them." The fleet remained in orbit, watching as the humans continued to rescue others and control the damage. Every instinct, every movement, showed that humanity was far beyond what the aliens had predicted. And yet, this was only the beginning. As the night settled over the village, Ethan and Lyra stood side by side, looking at the destroyed probe. Neither fully understood what had happened, nor why they were capable of such strength and precision. But deep within, they felt the pull of the planet, guiding them, preparing them for something greater. The observers recorded every moment in silence. "This is the first test," one said finally. "If this is how they respond to a single probe, imagine what will happen when the real challenge arrives." The energy pulses from Earth grew stronger, like a heartbeat echoing across the planet. Humans were awakening, surviving, and thriving. The galaxy had underestimated them, but soon, no one would make that mistake again. The stage was set for greater tests, and humanity had passed the first trial. But the observers knew one truth clearly: Earth was more than a deathworld, and humans were far more than they seemed. Something was coming. Something that would test the limits of both the planet and its people. And humanity, still unaware of its full potential, was ready to rise. The Alien Council gathered once again in their grand chamber aboard the observation ship. Their translucent skin glimmered under the soft lights, and their long fingers traced patterns over holographic displays. Every eye in the room was focused on Earth, the so-called Deathworld, whose humans continued to surprise them. "They adapt too quickly," one observer said, voice tight with concern. "The first test, they survived it with ease. Our calculations were wrong. They are far stronger than anticipated." Another nodded slowly. "Not just stronger. They show instinct, courage, and coordination beyond anything we have recorded in a species so primitive. It is as if the planet itself is guiding them." A large, senior observer stepped forward, his eyes glowing faintly. "We have classified Earth as a Deathworld for a reason. But now, I am unsure. It was designed to kill, yet who, or what, is it meant to destroy?" Silence filled the chamber. The question hung in the air, unanswered. No one had an answer. The planet was a puzzle, an anomaly that defied their understanding. Below, on Earth, humans continued their lives, unaware of the discussion above. Yet, something ancient stirred within the planet. Rivers flowed with energy, winds carried whispers, and even the soil seemed alive. Ethan and Lyra, who had survived the first test, felt the pulses stronger than ever. It was as if Earth itself was speaking to them, guiding them to something unknown. Ethan could not explain it, but he began to feel a connection to the world around him. He could sense disturbances in the air, shifts in energy, and even danger before it arrived. Lyra experienced the same. Together, they felt stronger, faster, and sharper than any ordinary human should. The observers in orbit noticed these changes immediately. "The humans are awakening faster than predicted," one whispered, fear and curiosity mixing in their tone. "The planet is empowering them." Meanwhile, a secret network of energy veins beneath Earth began to glow faintly. These veins pulsed with a rhythm that matched the humans' growing instincts. It was subtle, invisible to the human eye, but it strengthened their bodies, sharpened their minds, and honed their reflexes. In the Alien Council, debate grew heated. "We cannot underestimate them any longer," one said. "Earth is not simply dangerous because of its environment. The humans themselves are the variable. The weapon. Perhaps even the intended weapon." Another observer shook their head. "Then we have been blind. We assumed a fragile, primitive species, but it seems they were built for survival, for war, for something we do not yet understand." "But what?" On Earth, the humans themselves had no answers. Ethan, standing atop a hill overlooking a city, felt a strange unease. He had survived accidents, attacks, and tests that should have ended him. Now, a sense of purpose called to him from deep within the planet. Lyra, far across the mountains, felt it too. An invisible thread connected her to others like her, guiding her movements, alerting her to danger, and strengthening her resolve. The humans were beginning to understand that they were not ordinary. They were preparing. But for what, they did not yet know. The observers continued to watch, growing more tense. "If this is the power of the planet influencing them," one said, "then Earth is more than a death world. It is a training ground. A forge. But for whom? Or for what?" A sudden spike of energy pulsed from the planet. On Earth, Ethan and Lyra felt it like a shockwave. Birds scattered, winds howled, and even the ocean waves seemed to rise higher. The humans instinctively sought safety, but something within them also surged with strength, determination, and awareness. "The humans are ready," whispered the senior observer. "Perhaps not for the probe, not for small attacks, but for something much greater. Something we cannot yet see." The council fell silent again, staring at Earth. They had underestimated humans from the beginning. They had thought of them as weak, fragile, and unworthy of attention. Now, every observation told them otherwise. The planet had secrets. Secrets that even the aliens could not fully understand. And on Earth, the humans continued to awaken. They were still unaware of the galaxy's gaze, still unaware of the true purpose for which they had been prepared. But the first test had shown them a truth. They were stronger than they thought. They were faster, sharper, and more resilient than any creature or machine sent against them. The observers in orbit exchanged nervous glances. One said quietly, "The Deathworld, perhaps it was never meant to destroy them. Perhaps it was meant to awaken them." And deep within Earth, the energy veins pulsed stronger, guiding, nurturing, and preparing its inhabitants. The humans were no longer ordinary. They were becoming the planet's champions, the hidden force that would one day face the unknown. The stage was set. Earth's secrets were awakening, and with them, the humans' true potential. And somewhere in the galaxy, forces beyond imagination would soon learn that this blue, fragile world was far more dangerous than anyone had ever believed. The sun had barely risen over Earth when the first signs appeared. Strange lights streaked across the sky, barely visible to the human eye. Satellites picked them up, but scientists dismissed them as meteorites or space debris. Yet the aliens in orbit knew the truth. Scouts had arrived, and this time they were targeting the humans directly. Ethan felt it first. The energy within him pulsed stronger than ever, a warning from the planet itself. Lyra, far to the east, experienced the same sensation. Something dangerous was approaching, something unlike the probe or the previous challenges. The alien scouts were small but fast. Sleek, metallic shapes, they moved silently through the atmosphere, landing near human settlements with precision. Their mission: capture, study, and, if necessary, eliminate the humans who had begun to show extraordinary abilities. In the first village, a scout emerged from the shadows. Its metallic claws cut through walls, doors, and anything in its path. The humans nearby froze, unsure what they were seeing. Panic spread quickly, but then Ethan arrived. Without thinking, he sprang into action. The energy pulse within him guided every move. He dodged the scouts' attacks with unnatural agility, blocked strikes with his bare hands, and countered with precision that no ordinary human could manage. The scout faltered. It had never encountered resistance like this. Meanwhile, Lyra reached the scene from the mountains. She saw the scout attacking villagers and understood immediately what was happening. Her instincts kicked in. She moved with speed and clarity, disarming mechanical weapons, redirecting them away from people, and using the environment around her to her advantage. Rocks, debris, even fallen trees became tools in her hands. The alien observers in orbit were silent. Their scanners showed readings they could not believe. The humans, they are exceeding expectations, one whispered. It is as if they were made for this, made to face us. Ethan and Lyra worked together seamlessly. Where one moved, the other supported. Every attack they faced was met with counteraction, every threat neutralized with instinctive strategy. They were no longer ordinary humans, they were warriors awakened by the planet itself. The scouts realized their underestimation too late. Metal limbs were torn apart, weapons disabled, and one by one, they fell. The human strength, speed, and ingenuity had outmatched technology designed to dominate them. But the aliens in orbit knew this was only a warning. The scouts were not the real enemy. They were the first wave, a test to gauge humanity's readiness. And humanity was proving itself stronger than even the observers had predicted. Ethan looked at the last scout, its systems failing and sparks flying. Why are they coming? He asked himself, though he already sensed the answer. Earth had been preparing him, Lyra, and countless others for this moment. Something greater was approaching, something that no human had yet faced. The scouts were destroyed, but the message was clear: the galaxy was watching, and humanity had been noticed. The humans had survived, adapted, and fought with courage beyond comprehension. High above, the alien council exchanged worried glances. They are not just survivors, one said quietly. They are predators in their own right, though they do not yet know it. Another nodded. This is what Earth intended. The planet is awakening them, strengthening them, preparing them. But for what? The energy pulses from the planet grew stronger still. Humans all over the world who had begun to sense something stirring within themselves felt it more intensely now. A growing awareness, a connection to one another, and a sudden clarity of purpose filled their minds. Lyra and Ethan stood side by side after the last scout was destroyed, looking at the remnants of the machines. Neither fully understood their abilities, nor why the planet had chosen this moment to awaken them. But deep within, they both knew that this was only the beginning. The observers in orbit continued to watch, unable to tear their eyes away from the humans below. They have passed the first test, and survived the scouts, one murmured. But the real challenge is coming. The hidden enemy, the one this Deathworld was built for, will arrive soon. Somewhere in the galaxy, far beyond Earth, a force waited. It had watched, it had prepared, and it had underestimated humanity. Soon, it would realize its mistake. Humanity was no longer unaware, no longer fragile, and no longer easy to defeat. The hidden enemy would arrive, and Earth's champions, ordinary humans now transformed by instinct, strength, and courage, would be ready. The stage was set for the ultimate confrontation, and humanity had taken its first victorious step. The observers in orbit remained tense, recording every movement, every heartbeat, every pulse. The story of Earth, the story of humans, was far from over. And somewhere deep within the planet, the energy that had guided Ethan, Lyra, and countless others pulsed with certainty. The humans were ready for what was to come. The world had changed. Humans who had once been ordinary were now anything but. Ethan, Lyra, and others like them had survived impossible tests, faced alien scouts, and discovered a strength they did not fully understand. Yet this was only the beginning. The planet was awakening its children for a greater purpose, a purpose no one in the galaxy could predict. High above, the alien fleet observed in tense silence. "They continue to grow stronger," one observer said, its voice heavy with disbelief. "Every test, every challenge, they adapt, they overcome, they dominate." Another shook its head. "This is no evolution we know. It is deliberate, guided, almost like the planet itself is teaching them." On Earth, Ethan and Lyra felt the energy within them rising. It was more than just strength, it was clarity, speed, and awareness. They could sense the flow of the world around them, the wind, the earth, the rivers, even the faint pulse of life in every creature. Every obstacle, every danger, felt visible to them before it arrived. In a city near the coast, a massive earthquake struck suddenly. Buildings shook violently, glass shattered, and roads split open. Panic spread through the streets. Ordinary humans froze, unsure what to do. But Ethan and Lyra moved without hesitation. They leaped into action, guiding people to safety with precision and foresight. Debris fell around them, but they caught what would crush others, lifted what others could not, and moved faster than the rubble. Each action seemed impossible, yet natural. They did not think, they simply acted, in harmony with the planet and its hidden power. Meanwhile, the alien observers noted every movement. Their displays showed readings they could barely comprehend, energy pulses, reflex speeds, and survival efficiency far beyond human norms. One observer whispered, "They are no longer just adapting. They are mastering their environment, mastering themselves." Across the world, others like Ethan and Lyra were awakening too. In deserts, forests, and mountains, humans performed feats of strength and awareness that defied belief. Some lifted enormous weights to save others. Some navigated collapsing terrain with impossible agility. And some, without realizing it, unleashed power that was guided by the planet itself. "This is not natural," one alien said, turning to its companion. The humans, they were not built to survive. They were built to dominate. The humans themselves began to sense it. A strange awareness filled their minds, a connection to one another and to Earth. They could anticipate danger, respond to it, and protect not only themselves but everyone around them. They had become a force the galaxy could not ignore. Ethan and Lyra met atop a mountain, overlooking a city trembling from another disaster. They had both grown stronger, faster, and sharper with each challenge. "We're not ordinary anymore," Lyra said, her eyes glowing with a strange light. "We were meant for this." Ethan nodded, feeling the pulse of Earth beneath his feet. "It's like the planet itself is giving us power, preparing us for something bigger, something we haven't seen yet." The alien fleet continued to watch in silence, the council murmuring among themselves. "If this is only the beginning," one said, voice low, "then the humans are no longer a threat to themselves, they are a threat to the galaxy." The energy pulses of Earth grew stronger. Humans everywhere felt it, whether they understood it or not. It was a guiding force, shaping instinct, courage, and intellect. They were no longer fragile or weak. They were the planet's champions, capable of surviving anything, facing any threat, and overcoming any obstacle. And yet, the observers knew the truth. This power, this awakening, was not just for survival. It was preparation. The hidden enemy, the one for which Earth had been built as a Deathworld, would soon arrive. And when it did, humans would need every ounce of their strength, skill, and courage. Ethan raised his hand to the sky, sensing something in the distance. A faint shimmer appeared among the stars, barely visible, but unmistakable. Lyra felt it too. It was a warning, a signal, a prelude to what was coming. The humans were ready. Not just to survive, not just to defend, but to fight and to win. Their true power had been awakened, and the galaxy would soon see it for itself. Above them, the alien observers recorded everything in silence. "They are no longer the species we thought they were," one whispered. They are something far greater, something we cannot predict. Earth's pulse continued, steady and strong, guiding, empowering, and protecting its children. Humanity had survived the tests, destroyed the scouts, and discovered their hidden strength. The stage was set for the ultimate battle. The hidden enemy would arrive, and humans, awakened, prepared, and guided by the planet, would finally face their destiny. The story of Earth, of humanity, was reaching its climax. And when the galaxy realized the true power of humans, it would never underestimate them again. The sky above Earth shimmered with strange lights. Far beyond the planet, something massive approached. It was not a probe, nor a scout. It was the hidden enemy, the reason Earth had been built as a Deathworld. Its presence filled the galaxy with silence, fear, and awe. Ethan stood atop a cliff, feeling the pulse of the planet beneath him. Lyra joined him, her eyes scanning the horizon. Humans all over the world were sensing it now, a force approaching, powerful and unknowable. It was a threat unlike any they had faced, yet instinct and courage surged through them. The planet had prepared them. Above Earth, the alien observers were tense. "This is what the Deathworld was for," one whispered. "Not to destroy humans, but to awaken them. And now, the real test begins." From the darkness of space, the hidden enemy emerged. Towering ships, unlike any technology humans had seen, moved with terrifying precision. Energy pulses radiated from them, shaking the planet and the oceans. Cities trembled. Mountains shook. Humans everywhere felt the weight of the approaching force. But this time, they did not run. They did not panic. The energy of the planet had awakened something deep within them. Ethan and Lyra, alongside countless others, stood ready. Ordinary humans had become extraordinary, faster, stronger, and more aware than any alien could imagine. The first strike came without warning. Massive beams of energy tore through the skies, hitting the ground with explosive force. Fires erupted. Buildings collapsed. Yet humans moved with instinctive precision, dodging destruction and saving those caught in the chaos. Ethan leaped into action. He caught debris mid-air, redirected falling structures, and protected dozens of people at once. Lyra ran beside him, disarming energy weapons with nothing but her strength and awareness. Together, they moved as one, almost guided by the planet itself. The alien observers watched in awe. "They are not just surviving," one whispered. "They are fighting and winning." Across the world, humans who had felt the planet's pulse began to act. In forests, deserts, and mountains, ordinary men and women performed impossible feats, lifting massive objects, redirecting deadly energy, and even coordinating attacks against the enemy with unmatched precision. The hidden enemy sent waves of machines and soldiers, attempting to overwhelm humanity. But each wave was met with resistance, humans adapting, learning, and striking back with courage and ingenuity. No alien technology could match the speed, strength, and cunning of Earth's awakened champions. Ethan and Lyra reached the heart of the first enemy ship. Sparks flew as they climbed its metallic walls. Inside, systems hummed with lethal energy. With strength and precision guided by instinct, they dismantled the core, causing the ship to falter. It crashed into the ocean, sending waves high into the sky. The humans cheered, but the battle was far from over. The enemy was massive, relentless, and far more dangerous than any previous test. Yet the humans fought with unity, courage, and a strength the galaxy had never seen before. Every strike, every movement, every decision was guided by the planet, empowering them to rise above impossible odds. The alien observers in orbit whispered among themselves, their fear now mingled with respect. "Earth has done what no other world could," one said. "It has forged a species capable of facing the greatest threats in the galaxy. Humanity is more than a species. It is a force." As the battle raged, the true purpose of Earth was revealed. It had not been built to be destroyed. It had been built to awaken, to test, and to prepare its humans for the greatest challenge the galaxy had ever seen. And now, the humans, awakened and guided by their planet, faced the hidden enemy head-on. Ethan, Lyra, and countless others stood together, looking at the chaos around them. Fear had no place here. Doubt had no place here. Only courage, strength, and determination filled their hearts. Earth had awakened its children, and humanity had become unstoppable. With one final surge of power, humans and the planet acted as one. The hidden enemy's fleet faltered under the force of awakened humanity. Ships fell. Machines broke. And the invaders, once confident, now trembled before the force they had underestimated. The battle ended, leaving silence in its wake. Earth stood strong. Humanity had survived, and in surviving, it had revealed its true power. The galaxy would never forget this moment. Humans had risen, not as prey, but as champions. The alien observers recorded every detail, knowing that this small, blue world, once thought fragile, was now the greatest force they had ever witnessed. Earth had kept it secret, and humanity had proven itself worthy. Somewhere deep within the planet, the energy pulsed gently, as if acknowledging the victory. Humans had been awakened. They had faced the ultimate challenge. And now, the galaxy would know the truth. Earth, its people, and their power could never be underestimated again. The battle was over, but Earth had changed forever. Cities bore scars of the invasion, forests had shifted, and oceans rippled from the clash. Yet humans stood taller than ever. They were no longer fragile or ordinary. Humanity had awakened, guided by the planet itself, and the galaxy would never forget them. Ethan and Lyra walked through the remains of their city. People emerged from hiding, helping each other rebuild. For the first time, there was no panic, no fear. Humans moved with confidence, purpose, and a quiet awareness of their own strength. The planet, it prepared us, Ethan said softly. It guided us, gave us what we needed to survive. And now, we know who we are. Lyra nodded. We are not just survivors. We are protectors. Guardians. Humans are meant for more than we imagined. Across the world, similar scenes unfolded. Ordinary men and women, once unsure of their abilities, now moved with precision and confidence. Communities rebuilt, people helped each other, and those with awakened powers began to train, teach, and guide others. The planet's energy flowed through them, shaping a generation stronger than any that had come before. High above, the alien observers watched in silence. They no longer saw Earth as a Deathworld. They saw a forge, a crucible that had transformed ordinary humans into champions. We underestimated them, one whispered. They are no longer a species to watch, they are a force to respect and fear. But Earth's people were not concerned with fear. They had survived impossible trials, faced the hidden enemy, and discovered their true power. They understood that strength was not only in fighting, it was in protecting, in helping, and in uniting as one. Ethan and Lyra stood atop a hill at sunset, looking over a city slowly coming back to life. This is just the beginning, Lyra said, eyes reflecting the glowing sky. There will be more challenges, more enemies. But we are ready. We are human, and we are unstoppable. The energy of the planet pulsed beneath their feet, steady and strong. It whispered promises of guidance, preparation, and awakening. Humans were no longer passive observers of the galaxy, they were participants, champions, and protectors. In distant systems, the hidden enemy and other forces would remember Earth. They would remember the humans who had defied expectations, survived impossible trials, and fought with strength that no machine or alien could overcome. But on Earth, the humans were focused on a new mission. Not revenge. Not conquest. But readiness. They trained, they learned, and they grew. They strengthened the bonds between themselves and the planet. Humanity had faced its first true test, and emerged victorious. Ethan looked at Lyra, then across the horizon where other humans were gathering, learning to harness their abilities. We've survived the storm, he said. Now we must prepare for the future. And the planet's pulse echoed back through the humans, a steady, reassuring rhythm. You are ready. The galaxy will know your name. You are humanity. The world was not just a home anymore. It was a crucible, a forge, and a sanctuary. And humanity, awakened and stronger than ever, would shape its destiny in ways no one in the galaxy could imagine. The observers in orbit recorded the moment silently. This was the turning point. Earth had revealed its secret, and humans had proven their true worth. The galaxy would never underestimate them again. And somewhere, deep within the heart of the planet, a final pulse resonated, a warning and a promise. Humans were ready. Their era had begun.